unfold?
You know, for some reason, I was asked this question more in the time leading up to the William & Mary game than any other week this season. For some reason, a lot of people wanted to know, do you think it's going to be an offensive game? Do you think it's going to be a defensive game? Some weeks, I think you get kind of a gut feeling. I think gut feeling Villanova is probably going to be a lower scoring game. My gut feeling JMU was it was going to be an offensive game, maybe not to that extent. I had no idea going into the William & Mary game. Did you have expectations on how you thought that game would unfold, and did it unfold that way?
Well, I can't really say that I did. I mean, I think that I had some ideas of how the game could unfold, you know, and I was prepared to play the game however we had to play it to win it. You know, so if the game opened up early, we were going to open up. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. So sometimes the flow of the game ends up dictating how the game gets played, and I think that's kind of what happened there. I chose to defer. I wanted to have the ball in the second half. And again, to be quite honest, I felt that we had a good chance to keep them out of the end zone on the opening drive, and we did. We forced them to kick field goal right there. And that in and of itself, even though it's kind of a simple statement, was a big deal because it's 3 and not 7. And then the game kind of got into somewhat of a balance back and forth and some flow. Both teams run the ball very well. We certainly ran it better here on Saturday, but we did think it would be somewhat of a run-oriented game, and the team that did the best job of controlling the other team's rushing offense, I thought can control the tempo of the game and most likely the outcome of the game. And you know, when it was all said and done, that's kind of the way it did play out.
And you took the ball, as you said, to start that third quarter, and that was about as good a third quarter, I think, as you could have imagined. Whatever was said, done, adjustments at halftime, the 2 touchdowns in the third quarter that really put you at arm's length.
Yeah, but, you know, the halftime, the locker room was kind of interesting at halftime. I mean, we were, you know, I don't know if you saw, did the interview walking off the field, and was it 7-3 or 7-6?
7-6.
7-6. So it's 7-6. And the young girls talking to me about our defense. I said, yeah, our defense is playing real well, but I'm really not happy about anything else. I really wasn't very pleased with what I was seeing. And I just expected us to be able to play a little bit better. And when I went in the locker room, I addressed the players kind of with that mindset. And then I started talking about, hey, there's only 2 options here. And in the next 2 hours, we're going to be back in this locker room, and we are either going to be experiencing the thrill and joy of victory or the agony. I mean, there's no middle ground. There's no ABC. It's A or B. What do you want it to be? And I felt that we could control that outcome in our locker room if we took control of the football game. And that's pretty much what we did there in the third quarter. A week ago up in Villanova, you know, before we headed out to the second half, I said, if we can take this ball, drive, and score, we will take control of the football game. Well, we fumbled it on the kickoff return. Okay, then we're playing uphill. Well, this week we were able to take that ball, drive, and score, and kind of started to take control of the football game.
Well, let's talk both sides of the ball. We want to kind of rehash William & Mary. We want to talk about the playoff, getting the seed, the matchups that are coming. All of that is part of this week's show. And then, again, we will be here again next Tuesday. We'll get into much more of a preview once the Spiders know who they're playing, either Duquesne or William & Mary, and get more of kind of X's and O's of what's coming. Playoff game will be at Robins Stadium Saturday, December 5th. It is a noon start. Some of you may have seen a different time that originally was up on ESPN, but as you know, we've got home basketball that night as well, so in order for everything to fit into place, football is at noon, basketball is at 6 on Saturday, December 5th. Getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. Coach, has there been anybody better for this long a period of time than Jacoby Green?
I haven't witnessed it. It's something that is, hard to really put your finger on how week in and week out he's able to produce at this level. Now, you've heard me talk fondly and brag somewhat of our offensive line all year long. I mean, I've been very, very pleased with the play of the offensive line. And but again, they're not knocking them all down. It's not like every time there's big holes there. I mean, Jacoby's got great vision, he's got great tempo, he's got great patience. And he's going to find the crease, and he's going to get up in there. And the thing about him, he runs more like a big back. And when it's time to get in the hole, he's in that hole like a big back runs through a hole, and it's a little deceiving, I think, for the defenses to stop. So obviously we got to keep that up and running and rolling. And like I want to continue to mention Seth's name just because he's done so much here in his time here at Richmond. And early in the year when we had both of them, at least Jacoby didn't have to do this for 11 weeks. I don't know if you can do it for 11 weeks. So it became a 5 or 6 week proposition, and he's been on point each and every week. And I think that's one of the guys that really can benefit from the bye week.
There were a couple popular questions, as there always are, that our folks here at the audience ask me before you get here. Tug on ask Coach. Seth Fisher, moving forward.
Well, I if we were playing this week, he would not play.
Okay.
So I would say that the bye offers some hope. And Seth was in my office yesterday, and we kind of had that conversation. And so often for all of us, I mean, young or old, I mean, you need hope. You got to have some things you can put some hope in. And I offered that to our team during the course of the week. Just the joy of victory and the hope of winning. And then to Seth, the open date kind of, I think, shifts his mindset and psyche a little bit, and we're hopeful that when we come back next Sunday, and next Saturday practice next Sunday, he can get into some work there with the 11 on 11, and if that's the case, then he'll be questionable for that game, but he would not be ready to play this week.
All right, more to come on that, I am sure. Quick comment on the defense before we get to Ivan, and then I want to get our guys up here and talk with them about all they're experiencing right now. Would you say that, I know you said maybe offensively you could have been better, especially in that first half when you went to the locker room. How about defensively to hold a team like that out of the end zone the entire day to just 3 field goals?
Yeah, and I've watched the film 3 times at least, here in the last day or so, and the physicality that we played with and the intensity at which we played with was so impressive to me. And it was truly an every play adventure. And each and every play, our guys were physical, they were fighting, and they were tackling. And it was fun to watch. And as the game was unfolding, you started to get a real good feel about how we were matching up. But you still never know. One time a guy falls down and make a big play, to make a long run, and they get 7 points. But the flow of the game and the control, the tempo of the game was very much in our favor. And we rushed the passer with 4. We had 4 guys rushing the passer, and we put significant pressure on their quarterback with that 4-man rush. And I think that also dictated a good bit of the flow of the game, especially in some of those third down situations.
Yeah, and you reverse 2 trends with them, obviously. I think they had only given up a sack once in the last 5 games, only 1 sack in the last 5 games. Andrew got to him for a huge loss, and they'd only thrown 2 interceptions all year, and your defense got 3 in 1 game.
Yeah, and that's why it's week to week. I mean, there's so many things that you look on the stat sheet heading into a game, and you try to predict, is this how it's going to play out? But then the next week, it's all about the matchups. The matchups are different, and the thing I love about our D-line, they're tough, they're physical, but they're quick. They can all run. So when that quarterback start moving around back there, every one of those guys can close in on the quarterback. So those holes that sometimes those guys can step up in and maybe deliver the ball or run away, those holes close very quickly, and it puts pressure on the quarterback. Now he's thinking about getting rid of the ball instead of standing back there looking for an open receiver.
All right, so much more to talk about, so much more to ask as we look forward to the postseason and the playoffs, but we'll let Ivan do some of that, and we'll let our fans in attendance do some of that, and we certainly want to get Andrew and Thomas up here as quickly as we can. So, Ivan, let's get to you. I know you've got questions for Coach Rocco, and then we'll move on to our player segment. Ivan, hello.
Hello, Coach. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Ivan.
I hope you have a safe trip to Vegas, Bob.
Thank you.
Coach, congratulations on a fantastic game and a fantastic finish to the season.
Thank you very much.
The regular season.
Yep.
When you went into when you took the 7-6 lead at halftime, I was really concerned that I was worried that maybe somehow you didn't look like yourselves in the beginning. You know, you had your offense was a little wasn't in sync at the time.
Yeah, you're right there, Ivan. We had the one turnover. I know they stripped the ball from Reggie there, which was down there in the red zone again. So that was certainly a difficult place to not be able to get points. And I think I actually did say to the team in the locker room, where is my team at? Where are they? Where are you guys? And referencing a little more the offense and the offensive production. We went through a string this year. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we were scoring in the 30s and the 40s 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and then we got ourselves kind of 25, 21, 20. Okay, the last 3 weeks. So defensively now is playing better. Villanova had a really good performance on defense up at Villanova. I mean, we didn't make a play at the end that could have, held them off and won the game, and they got a one-play score after a turnover to start the second half. But other than that, we played really good defense, and then obviously played really good defense yesterday. So what I need to see is both units out there playing at that high level, which they've both demonstrated that they can do, but we haven't really done it together for quite some time, and maybe not since the main game when you really could sit back there and say, oh, wow, this was a really, really good-looking football team on both sides of the ball. Even with the big win at JMU, we gave up some yards against them, which you knew you would. But it wasn't necessarily a stifling performance defensively, but it was an unbelievable performance with our offense.
Yeah, because I was really impressed that the defense kept shining, and the offense finally got him clicking that second half. What got really seeing was how William and Mary kept closing the gap a little bit, like it was 13-9, and the 14-9, and I kept saying, come on, folks, just hunker down and do a better job.
That's exactly what I was saying. Hunker down. I love that right there.
I don't know if that's good for a northern guy like
Hunker down. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan, you're right, though. And then, when it was all said and done, the offense answered the bell when they needed to. And then I think Jacoby, once again, kind of just showed why he is as special as he is and why he's a candidate right now for a number of awards, and one of them being a National Offensive Player of the Year award. So that's all very exciting stuff.
Well, I got to say, I don't care who we play a week from Saturday, so long as I know we're at home and we're going to win. That's all I care about.
I appreciate that, Ivan.
All right, Ivan, thanks. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ivy.
We'll take a break, and then Andrew Clyde and Thomas Evans join us up here at the head table to talk some Spider football. You're listening to the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5. Spider IMG Sports Network is powered by Ace Electric.
Have you been dreaming about a new deck, screen, porch, or room addition? Make it happen by calling Atadec at 285-4239. Atadec doesn't just build decks. Of course, we can build your new deck or renovate your old one, but we also build beautiful screen porches, open porches, sunrooms, and other room additions, and have been for over 25 years. We can design it, build it, and turn your dream into reality. Visit Atadec on the web at atadec.com or call 285-4239 today. That's 285-4239 for additions and decks by Atadec.
Can you handle a full rack? Buzz can. He's been smoking, chopping, saucing, and glazing barbecue his way for over 30 years, specializing in succulent spare, tender baby back, and jumbo beef ribs with recipes handed down for generations. And don't forget about the award-winning pulled pork sandwiches, cooked daily over Buzz's signature hickory smoked wood. Stop by the original location at 1119 North Boulevard in the Fan, or the new Buzz and Ned's Real Barbecue at 8205 West Broad Street in the West End.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
Lux Chevrolet is celebrating their 100-year anniversary, and they're going to use their century of experience to help you find your next Silverado, Suburban, Impala, Malibu, or Equinox. Lux Chevrolet uses their vast knowledge of GM vehicles to help you maintain and service your vehicle to keep it on the road longer and help maintain its value. So for Chevrolet sales, service, or parts, go where experience reigns supreme. Lux Chevrolet in Ashland and online at luxchevrolet.com. Proud to be family owned since 1916.
If you're craving lunch in Richmond football, you've come to the right place. Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Green takes the handoff at the 10, sheds a tackle at the 5, breaks another, and high steps into the end zone. Touchdown, Spiders! Jacoby Green, his league-leading 15th touchdown. And Jacoby Green finishing with 217 yards, plus that touchdown in the win over William and Mary Saturday. He is the leading rusher in the conference this year. He finished on top in rushing yards and in touchdowns for the Richmond Spiders. And one of the guys who helped get him there is bigger offensive lineman Thomas Evans, who joins us on my left, and defensive lineman Andrew Clyde on my right. Both of them back for cameo appearances on the Spider Sports Line. Thomas, let me get to both you guys and just overall thoughts on what it felt like, as that clock winded down and you knew you were going to win and you knew you were going to be CAA champions. I imagine there was an expectation going into that, but what was it actually like as you experienced it? Tom, you first.
Well, I remember when Kyle came in the huddle on our last drive and said, okay, we're taking a knee. Just that feeling of we've done it. Like, we've won the game. So it was a great feeling, especially a hard-fought game like that.
Talk a little bit about Jacoby and what you guys did for him. As Coach said, you guys were terrific. He does some of it, obviously. He's toting the ball, but how much fun it was to keep pinning your ears back and blowing off that line of scrimmage.
It's unbelievable the block for Jacoby. He just absolutely runs hard as he can every single play. You know he's going to run some people over. And just the O-line and tight ends, fullbacks, and receivers. I mean, everybody's just blocking as hard as they can. It's fun to watch.
All right, on the other side, so I think it's pretty cool to be in that huddle and hear your quarterback say, we're taking a knee any game during the season, but certainly that one. You guys on defense had done your job, and you were on the sideline watching that. What was the sideline experience like, Andrew?
It was great. I mean, especially just on the field after that, seeing David Herlocker get his interception, kind of, we knew all we needed was a first down or two, just run out the clock, and then that's what our offense does best, just grind the ball, and, sure enough, they did it, and it was just a surreal moment.
How fortunate do you feel? I mean, you're a huge part of this, yet you're a redshirt freshman experiencing what this team has done really the past 2 years. Obviously not on the field last year, but a playoff appearance last year, and now to be an integral part just as a redshirt freshman of a championship.
Sure, it sets the standard of what we want to, accomplish here going forward. This is just the beginning. Coach is always talking about not just our team, but the program, and, this team's a big part of how we're looked at going forward.
Be honest with me now. Did you guys exceed expectations, your expectations on Saturday? I mean, this is a William & Mary team that's averaging, 35, 36 points a game, and you keep them out of the end zone.
It was a great performance, They had two great running backs coming in. We wanted to shut them down, but, I think both of them had less than 50 yards. So, obviously that was maybe a bit more than what we expected.
What was it like chasing Cluley all over the field, and then the one that you finally got him right there on the sideline?
Yeah, he didn't really want to get out of the pocket that much. Most of the times we hit him, he was just kind of standing tall back there, taking the hit, trying to deliver the throw the best he could. So I think Winston on the sack got the initial pressure, and he almost got to him. Then he scrambled out to my side, and he wasn't a mobile guy, so we were able to chase him down. I thought he was going to throw the ball away, but he ended up tucking it, so it was a big play.
What's that feeling?
It's so exciting. It's awesome.
I think we had this conversation with you last time you were here, or maybe it was with one of the other defensive linemen. It might have been Winston who has one of these, but is that the ultimate feeling for a defensive lineman, or is that like deflection, interception that's still coming for you in the next 3 years, maybe the ultimate?
Interception would be great, but sacks are, the best we can get, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you looked up, because you said you thought maybe he'd throw the ball out of bounds, when you looked down and the football was still in his hands, what kind of runs through your mind and your emotion at that point?
It set up a long, I'm not sure what down it was, but it set up a long play, so It's like, hey, let's just go get him again.
How have you guys as a defensive line come together this year? We talk so much about that, and we will with the offensive guys. How about from a defensive line standpoint?
We've come together real well, considering kind of the injury standpoint we had. Waller at the beginning of the season, he goes down at Hampton. DeAnthony comes in, starts playing, amazing. He goes down with his, elbow, and now Devin's coming in, and, there hasn't been a drop-off whatsoever. We just kept fighting.
Danny, you've mentioned it several times that there was a true, legitimate fear that you might run out of defensive linemen before you ran out of games on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it all year, and I said Saturday in the post game how I thought this year Coach Beelan and Coach McCorkle have just done phenomenal jobs. I think they recognized the talent that they had, but they also recognized maybe not quite as much depth, and it was going to be important that we got the most out of the guys that we have, and they've done a great job dealing with the production and the weekly teaching, game planning, and then on the defensive side of the ball, just moving guys around. All of our D linemen can play any of the positions on the defense, and in a given week or in a given series, they're flip-flopping around, but we just got to do what we got to do to make it work. So those guys have done a great job, and then our players have done a great job of responding.
Well, Fels, why don't you talk about your position coaches for a moment? And since we were talking defense, Andrew, let's start with you and just the relationship that you guys have with your position coach. Coach Beelan, in your case.
Coach Beelan's, a real passionate coach. He always expects the best out of us. Sometimes, when it's in practice, you're thinking, I'll deliver this, and it's not up to his expectations, and so it just pushes you to meet those at the game. And I think during the games, we do our best to make him happy and then serve our defense well.
Thomas, from your perspective, Coach McCorkle, for some reason, I think I see him more in our hallways in the Robins Center than any of our coaches. I think it's just happenstance, but he's normally a pretty laid-back, mild-mannered guy when he's walking through the halls of the Robins Center. That changes a little bit, doesn't it, on the practice and game field?
Absolutely. Coach McCorkle always is bringing a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and just a protective mindset. He's always had that, protect our quarterback, protect the running backs, go get them up, get them off the ground, and just, fight your butt off for them.
What was his message, if any, to you guys at halftime Saturday when obviously, as Coach Rocco said, the defense had kept them to 2 field goals, but offensively there was a little bit of disjointedness, perhaps is the word I'm looking for.
Just kind of put it behind you, flush it, and get ready to play the second half, because the second half's, where it's all on the line.
How much did you guys take that upon yourselves as offensive linemen?
A lot. And
how'd you do that? I mean, take me in the locker room for a second here. Were there chairs thrown? Were there fist pumped? Was there yelling? What got you guys going? Because that third quarter was, about as good as it could be.
Between the offensive line, we just kind of looked at each other and we knew what had to be done. I mean, I can just look at Verd or look at Alex or look at Caleb or Nick, and it's just like, give them that look. Okay, it's time to go. We got a job to do. Let's go finish this thing.
I know it means a lot to all you guys, but to guys like Caleb and Nick, as seniors, do you feel, could you see it in their eyes that Absolutely. There was even more sense of urgency, I guess?
Absolutely. Like knowing that, their time is coming short, and we know, like, the rest of us, we just got to give it all for them.
How special is it to know that, as Coach has talked about a lot, and Andrew brought it up, it's about a program. It was about this year's team, certainly, but about a program that both you guys still have an opportunity to make your mark even beyond this year.
I think it's important just to kind of, lay down the standard. It's really important for, offensive linemen and just everyone on the team in general, just keep progressing and moving forward.
Speaking of moving forward, now you are going to get a little chance to breathe before moving forward. What's the Thanksgiving weekend going to be like for you to be able to rest that body a little bit after all the blocking you've had to do and get away from it for a couple days?
I was planning on eating a lot, and I'm actually going with James Paddock down to Matthews, Virginia. So hopefully we do a little fishing there if it's not too cold and relax a little bit. You're ready to do it again.
Even if it's too cold, I'll bet you're going to go fishing.
I hope so.
I just have that feeling. Are they allowed to eat a lot, Coach? Is that all right?
Yeah, actually, to a degree. Coach Stu is going to talk to the team today at 3 after I have a message, but I do want to address just some of the things that I want them to be able to do when they're home, and one of them is eating and nutrition and working out. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to meet today at 3. We're going to practice this afternoon, kind of business as usual, and then we're going to practice tomorrow morning. We're going to go out earlier in the morning, try to get done by 11:30 so that we can feed them lunch because school's closed down, and then they could all be on the road by noon if they're heading home or heading to a friend's house to have Thanksgiving away. And then we'll come back Saturday afternoon late and then kind of get back in our normal routine.
Andrew, what are the holiday plans for you? You got a little further to travel now.
I'll actually be making it home. We were able to get a cheap plane ticket, so I'll be able to see some family, catch up. It'll be kind of a relaxing time.
Is that kind of an unexpected pleasure that you're going to have here? Because obviously there certainly could have been the thought process that, hey, we're going to make the playoffs, but the first round is Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting, to be home until, I guess, whenever the season was over. So it was definitely a nice surprise.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the playoffs. We'll take a time out here about halfway through the program and come back with these guys and get a little of their thoughts on what the experience is going to be like heading into postseason play for the Richmond Spiders on December 5th. We'll do that in a moment on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network powered by Ace Electric.
At UR School of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a UR degree on your terms. The University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details.
Hey guys, this is Big Alan. I want to talk to you about something serious. Prostate cancer. 1 in 7 of us will develop it. I know firsthand because I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Fortunately, I was diagnosed early, and when caught early, it's treatable. I went to Virginia Urology where my doctor discussed my options, listened to my concerns, and took care of me in a thorough and professional manner. So if you're over 40, have a family history, or are African American, you need to talk to your doctor about an annual prostate cancer screening. Call Virginia Urology 288-0339 or go to virginiaurology.com.
TNT Auto Rental and Limousine Service has you covered for all your car, van, and limo needs. They'll pick you up and take you to the airport or take care of you and your friends going to the big game with 7, 12, and 15-seat passenger vans. A TNT limo is perfect for that special occasion like wine tours, weddings, proms, and holiday parties. Call TNT Auto Rental and Limousine Service at 804-270-2912. That's 270-2912.
The holiday season is hectic. Making sure your vehicle is winter ready shouldn't be. Let Dyke Tire Pros take the hassle out of your holidays. From November 2nd through November 29th, get up to $70 after mail-in rebate when you buy a set of 4 new BF Goodwrench brand passenger or light truck tires. Relax and enjoy the season with your family. Dyke Tire Pros will take care of getting you there. Dyke Tire Pros in Richmond, online at dyketire.com. See redemption form for complete offer details. Offer expires November 29th, 2015. Void where prohibited.
Lunch is on the table, and the Spider Sports Line is on the air. Live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Powered by Ace Electric.
Valletta is back to throw for the end zone touchdown. Reggie Diggs right at the pylon, front corner of the end zone, pulls it in. Touchdown, Spiders. From the William & Mary 48, handoff to Anderson, and what a bone-crunching hit by Omar Howard. You got to play defense if you want to win. Championships would be the end of Chris Anderson's statement there. You got to play defense. Defense wins championships. So they certainly lived up to that end of the bargain Saturday in the win over William & Mary. All right, fellas, to look ahead to the playoffs, I still want to go back a little bit. And Coach and I were just talking. You do a lot of looking back even as you look ahead. Take our audience into that meeting room Sunday at 11 a.m. when that selection show comes on, and kind of what you're thinking, what you're hoping to see up on the board, and what that moment was like when you saw the Richmond name come up there as a number 7 seed, meaning that you weren't going to have to play that first round game. The video's up on our website. Hopefully everybody's already seen it. But from your eyes and your emotion, Thomas, what was it like as the show started and then as you saw the Richmond name?
Well, we were, I mean, we really didn't know where we were going to end up at all, as expected. And just when we saw, I think it was against Maryland, and I saw Kyle's jersey, and we all just like stood up, started banging on the table, clapping, just cheering and excited that we had an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, even though you know the name's coming up, it's
Right.
still pretty special to see it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in this case, Andrew, it did mean, I think you guys are Richmond student athletes. You're smart enough to know what it meant for your name to come up that early in the show that you were going to get a seed and a bye.
Absolutely. I guess kind of media outlets were saying we could be anywhere from a early seed to first round, playing a game, and to get the bye was awesome. Just let us know that we have a full week to rest and then a full other week to prepare for whoever we're going to end up playing.
Be honest now, how much time did you spend Saturday night kind of looking at all that stuff, whether it was media reports or Twitter or wherever else those prognostications were coming from?
I was up pretty late just checking everything. If I hadn't set an alarm for that 11, I was up that late, I might have missed it.
Thomas, were you doing the same thing or not?
I can't do that because I'll drive myself insane trying to look at all that predictions and stuff.
So you avoided it?
I do.
So you walked in the room. Coach?
I am insane, and I did stay up and I lost it. So
you had all the different ramifications.
I would say I was tracking scores more than I was trying to see what other folks were saying. There were 2 or 3 games that I thought would have real impact on how the committee would look at our resume, and 1 or 2 of those games went our way. So I kind of woke up in the morning thinking that we were 50-50. I thought to get buyed through and get seated. But again, like Thomas said, when the name pops up, it's exciting. And I think the announcer made a little statement that I don't know if you caught it or not, but when they introduced JMU, he made a comment that led me to think that has to mean that they seated us also.
Yes.
And so I heard it that way, though I still needed to see the picture up there.
Yeah, no, I did hear that because I was sitting with Charlie Fisher and Dave Legg, and the 3 of us started saying, wait a minute, did he just say
Yes, he did.
JMU lost to another team that's going to be seeded?
Yes.
So that meant it was either us or William and Mary, and it obviously wasn't going to be William and Mary after they had lost Saturday. So that allowed those guys to breathe a little easier because they were breathing kind of hard in the back of the room. I can tell you that. Were you in the room?
No,
I know you didn't last year.
I was down the hall with Julie.
That's what I thought.
Now, you were there, Bob. I was there just shy of 11, and, basically I congratulated the team once again, and my comment was, I really don't know who, when, or where, but I do know we're in. And then we had a schedule planned for the day regardless of what the outcome was going to be. But we were able to put our schedule in place here and maximize our time, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do that today and tomorrow before we send them home for Thanksgiving.
Thomas, what will a playoff game be like? You were in it a year ago. Obviously, the 2 games, the one at home and then the road game that followed. How different is it than a regular season game? I know down the stretch here, you kind of approach them like playoff games. Now they really are.
I think it's something real special. Our preparation is very similar, but to see all the NCAA stuff rather than the Richmond stuff, it's a special feeling knowing that you're one of the teams that has an opportunity in these playoffs. Because once playoff starts, it's anybody's game.
Yep. Andrew, how different do you think it will be? Obviously, you were part of the program last year, but not playing in the playoff game, and just how different, if at all, that you may or may not approach it.
I don't know if there is a different mentality. Obviously, it's a must-win game, but, I kind of go in thinking every game's a must-win game. You never want to lose. But it'll be fun, Last year I was in the stands. This year I'll be on the field, so I'll enjoy it.
All right, so the big elephant in the room is how much will you be focused Saturday on Duquesne, William and Mary, and your thoughts about either of those teams that could be coming to Robins Stadium on December 5th. Andrew?
Obviously William Mary is a team we know real well. Don't know anything really about Duquesne, so I'll be trying to tune into the game. I'll probably be on my way back, but trying to tune in, see, how it looks like it'll shape up, and then get ready for whoever wins.
You'll probably still be fishing when that game's going on. You won't watch, will you? I mean, I think it's a late game on Saturday. I think the guys will be back. It's 3:30. Yeah, so I think you'll probably be.
Yeah, I'll be tracking the game.
You will.
Yeah, just kind of scouting out either way.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, fellas, I'm going to let you go eat. We appreciate you coming by. As always, enjoy Thanksgiving. I think it's quite a bonus that you get to get with friends and family this week and then get back here and get into that routine for the weekend and on into next week. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thomas Evans, Andrew Clyde, our special player guests today on the Spider Sports Line from Outback, 7917 West Broad Street. We'll take a timeout, come back. We still got about 20 minutes or so to go in the show, and got a little bit of an announcement coming up right at the end of the show that we'll pass your way as well. So don't touch that dial. Don't leave that seat until we're done with the Spider Sports Line. How's that for a radio tease today? And we'll come back and talk with Coach Rocco and get his thoughts a little bit on the bye that the Spiders got, the way the playoff field unfolded, all of that in our last 20 minutes, and a couple email questions as well. Back in a moment on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Hurry into Outback for our limited time only steak and unlimited shrimp, starting at just $15.99. Hurry in for our sirloin and unlimited garlic herb shrimp or unlimited crispy shrimp with new volcano sauce. And let the bold flavors speak for themselves. Outback Steakhouse, done right. There are 5 great Outback restaurants in the Richmond area. Visit Outback.com for the location near you. Prices, products, and participation may vary while supplies last.
Hi, Bob Black here. As the voice of your Richmond Spiders, I see the fans' passion for our hometown team come to life each Saturday in the fall. UPS shares this same passion for helping businesses turn a challenge into a solution. Because they're not just in the shipping business, they're in the problem-solving business. Visit ups.com/solvers to see how UPS can help your team find the winning formula. UPS, official logistics company of Richmond Athletics.
We know what it's like, that persistent nagging feeling that will only go away when you get away. For those with a passion for travel, there's the new Discover It Miles card. You earn unlimited 1.5 miles for every dollar you spend, and you can fly any airline anytime with no blackout dates. Just buy your ticket and use miles to credit your statement. Apply now and Discover will double your miles at the end of your first year. So go on, scratch that travel itch. Get the new Discover It Miles card today. Limitations apply. Double miles for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/miles.
Honey, the leaves are all over the yard. Will you get them up today?
Halftime, dear, halftime. I'm watching the game.
How often do you find your blower or vac won't start, and a leaf roundup you thought would take only halftime minutes consumes the rest of the day? And your troubles. Stop by Arthur's Electric Service at 8910 Brook Road and get a quality Steel, Echo, Little Wonder Blower, or Billy Goat vac. Arthur's will set up your new blower or vac so it's ready to get the job done and quick. Why look anywhere else? Great brands in one place. Arthur's. Call Arthur's at 264-2513 or find them at arthurselectric.com.
The lunch hour's winding down, but there's still time for you to talk Richmond football with Coach Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street. This is the Spider Sports Line on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
Lulu from the gut is back to throw. Here comes pressure. He scrambles, avoids an ankle tackle to the sideline, and he can't avoid Andrew Clyde, who's got his 6th quarterback sack of the season, all the way back at the 22-yard line. Should have left Andrew up here to get embarrassed by that, but he got a nice round of applause while he's eating lunch over there. So, 6th quarterback sack of the year for him. What a terrific season as a redshirt freshman. I think it was Winston Craig who pressured him out of the pocket. I know he was talking about the two of them together, right? I think it was him who grabbed him at the ankle, and then Andrew finished him off right before the sideline. And we were also talking during the break, and again, this is one of those rules of broadcasting, that the best conversations happen during the commercial breaks. us. So if you're here in the restaurant, you're privy to them. So we certainly want you coming as the playoffs unfold. But we got to talking about your two really talented wide receivers and the very uncommon things that happened to them Saturday, Danny, and just left all of us shaking our heads. So Reggie Diggs frees himself down your sideline. Kyle Lauletta throws him a perfect ball that certainly would have gone for a touchdown. There wasn't a defender within 10 yards of him, and the sun glare got in his eyes, and I know he never saw that football. And then on the other sideline, Brian Brown makes the catch, frees himself with the defender, has nothing in front of him but the field turf, and he fumbles the ball out of bounds. I think all of us shook our heads over both of those unlucky plays.
Well, those are empty feelings right there when you see that happen. And but again, those were two plays right there that would have been the two quick strike plays that all of a sudden really extend the game. You know, and that's the one thing we really didn't do in the game on Saturday that we have done in some other games prior, and that's those quick strikes. And they were doing a really good job attacking both Brian and Reggie in some of their zone pressures, and that was a double move, a little stutter go to Reggie, and Reggie got right by him on the stutter go, and it's a perfect ball. He just absolutely positively could not pick it up in the sun. And then, Brian was a little odder. He had to kind of torque his body to get loose and get free, but once he was free, he was free. And when he kind of squared his shoulders back up, his knees came up, and the knee didn't really knock the ball out, but I do think his thigh kind of went up toward his elbow, and the next thing you know, the ball's rolling out of bounds, and I'm one of these, palms up. I'm on the side like, what just happened? And someone explained to me how that could happen, and but fortunately, neither one of those really cost us in the game.
I mean, what do you say to those guys in that situation? Because obviously they know it's no fault of their own, and they're just kind of shaking their head.
There's nothing to say. There really isn't, and so you just move on and move on and up, and those guys respond as they always do.
Hey, what did you think of Kyle's game? It seemed to me that he was much sharper than he had been the previous week's decision-making and execution.
Well, to me there was one real definitive play in the game where I felt that Kyle showed me that he was right back on point, and that was when he pulled the ball down and he ran for the first down. Mm-hmm. And see, to me, one of the things that Kyle does extremely well is he's very instinctive. And when he's just playing instinctive football, he is making fast and quick decisions. And when he's doing that, that's when he's really at his best. And again, I haven't said much of this in here this year, but he's been injured. I've used the word he's hurt but not injured, but I mean, well, what's the difference? I mean, he's got some things that are keeping him from being able to move around and to run, and so it changes your game a little bit. So you're not as instinctive anymore. You may avoid the rush, but you don't want to run. So you're back there doing something that is not really instinctive to you. So when I saw that in the game, I said he's kind of on his game, because that was something that was very instinctive, and he did it with purpose, and he punched that thing through there to get the first down, and that's very critical right there.
Well, I thought his timing was great on the two touchdown passes, the one to Reggie and the one to Brian. You heard Chris's comment that Brian couldn't have dropped it even if he wanted to. The pass was so perfect.
Well, we had two plays in the game that I was like, oh, wow, as far as officiating. Okay, now the one was the play prior to the touchdown pass when we hit Pavick in the flat. Now, this is what happened, okay? We had, I remember what tight end it was on the right side of the formation there. I think it was Hud, but he was blocking the defensive end. And then they flagged him for offensive pass interference. The guy had his hand on the ground. Okay, so the guy can't get that one, and then we were flagged on our sideline for coming out of a TV timeout.
That was really weird. Yes.
Like, I've never seen that call before.
Yeah.
So, and again, that was kind of a step backwards, but it was the play before Brian's touchdown catch, and that play didn't even happen, if Pavick's, play stands as touchdown.
All right, so two strategy questions for you. One's coming from an email, so you can't blame me, but the other one, that was 3rd and goal from the 18. If you picked up some positive yardage, were you going for it on 4th down? Or?
It would depend on where the ball was.
Close you got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that one's easy. So here's the other one. Great win, of course. This is an email. Couldn't be happier for the team and coaches. However, my question centers on the 2-point conversion attempt. I was hoping to understand the thought process with the team up 11 with the last touchdown. Why not go for 1 and go up 12? This would have required William and Mary to score 2 touchdowns to win. However, by missing the conversion, it allowed them to tie with a field goal and touchdown. Granted, they also would have needed a 2-point conversion. And I can tell you, not only is that an email question, but there were a couple folks in here today wondering about it, and you've had a kind of a history of doing that during the course of the season. You kind of stayed true to your form, I thought.
Well, yes and no. I think that most of the times that we've gone for 2 unconventionally, they were not offensive plays. They were field goal formation plays that were more trick or gimmicks. We did it down to James Madison to get up, get 15. We changed our entire special teams heading into the William & Mary game. Now, as we know, up in Villanova, really the one play that kind of cost us the game was a blocked extra point. Okay, and on the blocked extra point, we lost our kicker. Okay, so all these things factor into the thinking of the coach throughout the entire course of the week. All right, so we changed a lot of things in the kicking game. I have good confidence in Griff, and he can make kicks and he can make extra points. It really wasn't that at all. Now, William & Mary had 2 of the best block defenders that we've ever seen. 99, changed the JMU game. He blocked 2 extra points. 36 has got more block kicks than anybody that's ever played in our league. All right, so you're in a situation where all these things are in play. Okay, so, by the way, we changed our holder.
Yep.
Okay, because I wanted Broadus to be able to offer some element of surprise. They see Broadus in there holding. Is he going to hold? Is he going to stand up and throw the ball? Is he going to run the ball? So all these things are being thought through on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right, so now to the question. All right, as we score, Poland says, the chart says go for 2. Huh. So, there's a lot of different ways to look at that, but the chart said go for 2, and really in reality, that's why I did it right there, because that's what our chart has said. So I think that there's a reality. There's 2 numbers that are in debate. Like there's 3 different 2-point charts that are kind of recognized as real charts. One number in debate's 11, another one's 15. Okay, now the thought is with 11, especially in the third quarter, right, there's value in going for 2. Mm-hmm. In the fourth quarter, it'd be unlikely that you'd go for 2. All right, because they can have more than 3 possessions if it's only in the third quarter. So it's really just a fact. I actually wrote it right here. I guess I was expecting that question. But, down 11, down 11, all right, 8 points and 3 will tie you. All right, down 12, all right, 7, 3, and 3 will beat you. Okay, down 13, 7, and 7 will beat you. All right, so the thought is in the third quarter, and that's why the chart says go for 2 in the third quarter, they could kick a field goal and score a touchdown and beat you if you kick the extra point. So that's the rationale that I think is on the chart. Now, I don't want to something to defend myself. I offered 5 or 6 common sense reasons as to why you might not kick an extra point there. They have the leading extra point blocker in the country. They got a guy that's been blocked 2 the week before. My team lost a game 7 days earlier because we couldn't block the extra point. Then I got my kicker hurt. Yeah. And I have a new holder. So there's so many factors that factor in. Oh, yeah, by the way, the chart said go for 2. So, it is what it is. In the fourth quarter, I would not. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't say to do it in the fourth quarter. It says in the third quarter, go for 2. So I think that gave you more information than you needed.
Not at all. What I really want to know is, will these charts work in Las Vegas?
I don't know.
Because if they are, I'm taking them with me. If I were to be somebody who would partake in what Las Vegas has to offer when I get there tonight.
When you're in Vegas, you always go for 2.
I'll remember that, Coach.
That's a no-brainer.
I'll remember that. What do you make of the field in general terms? I know obviously you're focused on our side of the bracket, our game, Duquesne, William & Mary, but in general, 4 CAA teams, 3 state teams, just the overall 24 teams.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's a really good pool. I think that for the most part, I really felt that that the committee got it right, in terms of who. I was really pulling for Towson to get in. I really was. I thought that they, I'm not to judge that they deserved to get in. You know what I mean? We didn't play them, but I saw them on film a bunch, and I really felt that they had a resume that was worthy of getting in there. So I think to think that we had the 3 in-state CAA teams in is really, really neat, and that's for the first time ever, and that was shocking to me.
Yep.
And then you got 2 in-state CAA teams seated in the tournament, so I think that's really good. So I'm excited. I could not be more excited. I could not be more proud of our coaches and our staff, and then of our student athletes for putting us in this position. At the end of the day, we are in a result-oriented business. You either get it done or you don't, and we got it done. And it's never done in the fashion that you expect it to get done. Hey, at halftime at Hampton, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's think about that for just a second. At halftime at Hampton, you can imagine what's going through my head. Okay, so to think that I'd be sitting here today seated in this tournament is like, it's illogical. But we endured. And we endured, and I really give my kids a lot of credit for having the faith and the belief. Those are 2 very powerful words right there, and these young people have that, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, at some point when you look back on this year, you might find the crossroads to be halftime at Hampton and how painstaking that was, and the weather delay before you could get back out there, and they're winning the football game, all of that, and could have been a crossroads game, I guess, huh?
Yeah, a moment. Yeah, a moment. It was that moment in time where there was something that went on that said, this is a defining moment for your program, and you never really know when you're in them. You know what I mean? But when you come out of them, you kind of can recognize what really happened right there. And as you look back, that was certainly one of them right there. And then for me, obviously the JMU win was significant when you look back on the season. But the game that told me I had a good football team was the Maine game. And it was a game where I felt that my players listened to the design that I offered them. I said, this is what we have to do. And they listened to what I said we had to do. And then they went out and they played the game the way that we outlined the game for them to play it. And the result was perfect, and when you get that mindset, I think you get an opportunity to build on it. And I think we've been able to do that in some moments here this year. And one of them was Saturday. We were able to go out there and truly play the game the way we needed to play that game to get the win.
How was the senior moment? The senior, real quick, I want to take a break and then got some breaking news for everybody when we come back after our last break. But how was the whole senior part of the emotion of Saturday?
I thought it was really special. This was a really, really special group of guys. And, for me, this is my 4th season. I just finished. And for the vast majority of those guys, they were 4th-year seniors. The vast majority of those guys I brought in here in the recruiting process, so to kind of see it through to the finish is really special, really neat, and then to be able to basically realize the success that we were talking about on the front end. These are the things that we wanted to be able to do and accomplish with our program, and to see that it's happening during their tenure, I thought was really special.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. All right, final timeout. Come back with some breaking news on the Spider Sports Line. We don't do that very often, so don't go away. We'll be back with that and wrap it up on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by AC Electric.
At UR School of Professional and Continuing Studies, we offer flexible and affordable degrees to help you start, advance, or change your career. Explore our newest graduate degrees in nonprofit studies and public history. Plus, check out our new bachelor's degree and certificate in information security. With evening classes and tuition starting at just $450 per semester hour, you can earn a UR degree on your terms. The University of Richmond School of Professional and Continuing Studies. We work for working professionals. Visit spcs.richmond.edu for details. Family means everything. When you think of businesses you love to use, think of how many of those businesses are family-run. It may be your local grocer, vehicle repair shop, restaurant, or copier company. Copier? That's right. Since 1970, Stone's Office Equipment has been family-owned and operated right here in Richmond. And every Stone's employee is dedicated to going above and beyond to help make your business better. Stone's Office Equipment. Check them out on the web at stonesoffice.com. Go Spiders!
This is the Spider Sports Line with head football coach Danny Rocco, live from Outback Steakhouse, 7917 West Broad Street, on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network, powered by Ace Electric.
All right, we're going to wrap this up today. Again, we are back here next Tuesday. Matt Smith will actually be here to host the show with Coach Rocco. That's not the breaking news, by the way, with all due respect to Matt, because I'll be with basketball on the road. So there is a show here next Tuesday. I'll be listening, just like the rest of you. I'm with basketball. Matt will be here with Coach Rocco and our special guests. So at 1 o'clock this afternoon, the CAA is releasing its all-conference honorees. It is now 1 o'clock, and the Spiders set a record this year with 13 individual all-conference honorees. And here they are, all right? Third team, tight end, Nick Holloway. Second team, defense, defensive lineman Winston Craig. Second team, offense, place kicker Peter Yoder. Offensive lineman Nick Vergos. Offensive lineman Thomas Evans. Quarterback Kyle Laletta. Second team. First team for the University of Richmond, there are 7 first-team Spiders. On defense, linebacker Omar Howard, defensive backs Ira Laguni and David Jones. And on offense, offensive lineman Nick Richer, both wide receivers Brian Brown and Reggie Diggs, and of course, running back Jacoby Green. 13 all-conference honorees. Oh, and by the way, there's one more honoree. The 2015 CAA Coach of the Year, Danny Rocco. Coach, I know it's not about individual awards, but that's a pretty special group, yourself included.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I appreciate the applause and the support. It really is, and I'm so proud of this right here. And like I was saying earlier, we got a lot of good kids, we got a lot of good players, and our conference and our coaches have recognized that here, and that validates it with the number of guys, the volume of guys that have been recognized here. And it's really neat to listen to some of those discussions we had on the teleconference as coaches from other teams would talk about players on my team and what they saw in my players, and it's kind of flattering to hear some of the things that were said. So again, we talk all the time about the program and the future of the program, and I think this helps us continue to build and move forward.
Congratulations. Have a very, very happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody here today. Thank you very much.
You can cue the music. Matt Josephs, Mitchell Bradley, thanks for the extra couple of minutes so that we could get past the 1 o'clock hour so we could make that announcement and rattle off all those names and Coach Rocco and congratulate all of the Spiders on the great regular season, and now into the postseason we go. We are here next Tuesday at noon with the playoff edition of the Spider Sports Line, and then the game, of course, Saturday, December 5th at noon at Robins Stadium. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks to Mitchell Bradley, Blake Ellett, Matt Moretti here on location, and Matt Josephs in the studio. Bob Rexall and so long for the Spider Sports Line from Outback Steakhouse on ESPN 950, Sports FM 100.5, and the Spider IMG Sports Network. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.